They took that clean thing, the only clean thing, and they put in its place the will of man, the purpose of man, the unclean animal. The unclean animal driven by the voice of the most unclean animal, the most cunning of all the animals, that which slithers into the heart and speaks and tells man that his purpose is the only thing that's important. And that's the animal, the unclean animal that got put back into the temple. Those bodies in whom the genuine God of Israel and the genuine Messiah actually lived for a while. The true temple, what everything pointed to. They own these words, so they claim. And if you own it, you can sell the way. But only if the price is paid. Price always has to be paid. Price is agreeing with them, saying, yes, you're right. We agree. You know the way to God, and we agree to give you our conformity, our agreement that you know the way, if we can get that thing that we want so badly in our animal hearts. The promise of being able to survive forever. That's what heaven is. That's what heaven is to these animals who have spent their whole life scraping, surviving, just like wild animals, on one level or another. It could be not very far removed from the wild animals, or it could be in big fine palaces. They're still doing the same thing, promoting their own existence, putting forth their own purpose. That's what animals do. Scrape and get and have and attain and get more. Try to survive better. Try to survive longer, as long as possible. So of course, the promise of being able to survive eternally, forever, is very appealing to an animal, because that's what its mode is. And that's all the talk that Jesus did about the first will be last and the last will be first. You guys are trying to promote your own greatness, but you don't get it. The way to God is completely opposite the way to man. You don't get it. You have to be a servant. You have to be like me. You have to be nothing. Even you will reject me. Even you will abandon me. That's nothingness. Me, the Messiah that Israel has been waiting for, the Messiah that Moses talked about, Moses promised. Me, the one who actually is this one. Abandoned by the world because I don't tell them what they want to hear, and then abandoned by even by my disciples because you'll be afraid. You'll be afraid for your own skin, afraid to say you know me because you don't want to die. That is the height of invalidation. That's being last. Not being agreed with. Not being validated by the animals. But it's being first in God's kingdom. The way of God is opposite the way of man. That's the point God's trying to make with these words. That's the point Jesus was making when he said the first will be last and the last will be first. The first in this world of animals ruled by animals. Conformity and agreement in this world with the animals who rule the world. Their claim is the way to God. The religionists, the institutionalists say flat out, plain out, that God requires conformity to them who claim to own these words. Because all they're saying, all we're doing is just saying what these words say. That's all we're doing. But they're saying so much more. They're saying that they know what the words say. Which is kind of funny because they can't know what the words say. Just like the Jews couldn't know what the law said. Only those who were told what the law said could know what the law said. And that's why Jesus said, I didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. Everything will be fulfilled in the law, because the law isn't about what you think it is. The law is about what is contained within it, what God is saying. The law is about the brotherhood. The law, the secret message in the law, isn't about a bunch of laws that need to be followed, that could be exploited by animals, so that they could create a system that they could run and control and own. The rabbis, of course. The teachers of the law, of course. They must know the way to God. They must know the secrets. So we'll give them the currency that they require. The validation, the same thing. Same thing that was happening in Israel happened in the rise of this great whore, Christianity, starting with what happened in Rome and evolving out of that. Not just Catholicism, but everything, all of Christianity. Every group that claims to follow this Jesus God and the Spirit God. Every group who claims that the devil is outside them somewhere else. So really, when it comes down to it, it really has nothing to do with them. They can always point to some external source for what's wrong with them. They can always say, well, the devil's out there, and I'm safe in here. I'm going to heaven. I'm going to survive forever. Because I paid my price. I gave my currency